Drawing in Flash is quite unlike any other drawing application because you can take a simple shape such as an oval and then mold it like silly putty just using the selection tool and the subselection tools. Now, using the selection tool, I'm able to grab an outside edge, and you'll notice that the arrow, the selection tool, has a little curve that appears underneath it. And when you get next to a shape like this, a curve or edge, you can click and drag and start to mold it. You can change the shape of it, like so. And you can create some very interesting shapes this way. The subselection tool allows you to click on the edge and then select any of the points that make up this shape. And you can grab one of the Bezier handles here and then using the curves themselves change the shape of the object. So what we can do very quickly is I'll go ahead and delete this. I can take the tool here, draw a circle, and start to form a character's face just by pulling and stretching. So I can go ahead and get a nose going here and start to get a feel for a character's face, like a cartoon. This could be the nose, and then grabbing the subselection tool, clicking on the edge, and then using the Bezier handles, have a little bit more control over this shape. And as you see here, when you pull on one of the Bezier handles, you can actually change the shape of the curve itself. So now I have a nose, and I can go ahead and grab and move this entire point, and I can start to reshape the character's head. And I can do the same thing. I can move this up a little bit, maybe move this up a little bit, and then grab this handle and start to turn this point in like so by using the curves and start to give it a little bit of a skull shape here for the back of the head. And then very quickly you have a character's head. Now what I would normally do is I'll go ahead and name that. And I'll lock this layer. And I can go now and grab another oval, change the color of the fill to white, and then I can make sure I'm on a new layer, call this eye, and draw out the character's eyeball. And then since you want to animate that later on, you might just want to leave that as it is, lock that as well, create a new layer and call that eyeball, and then create another oval with a fill color, and then draw the eyeball of that character. Now we'll go ahead and give it the little specular highlights in the eyeball, like so. Then I will grab the eyeball and group it. So when I want to animate it, I can go ahead now at frame 10, for example, press F6 on the keyboard, and move the eyeball like this. And on that layer, on the eyeball layer, I can go ahead and add my motion tween. So now, he's looking around. You can do the same thing for the mouth and any other parts of the character. Keep in mind that the tweens only work with one object per layer. So you can't have one eyeball doing this and the other eyeball doing that on the same layer. Each eyeball has to be on its own layer, and you have to make sure that you should group it so that you can move all three of these objects together. So I have this circle, and then I have the two specular highlights here. So that's basically how you can use these two tools to create characters very quickly in Flash. And you can draw anything else the same way. All you have to do is plan it out in advance and have an idea in your head as to what the character should look like. And using just two tools, you can build almost anything.